Hello everyone, I am the Double Agent and welcome to the Outliers, a new series on this channel where I take a look at a few songs that I enjoy which unfortunately did not chart high enough to be eligible for the year-end best list. Why am I doing this? Well, two reasons. For one, I just kind of felt like mixing things up a bit. Constant negativity does get pretty old after a while, and the closest thing I've gotten to saying something positive since February was reaffirming that I still like Uptown Funk. Of course, that's mostly just because I barely uploaded this spring, which was actually the second reason I'm doing this. So without further ado, let's get this over with. We got three songs on the table today: Hold Back the River by James Bay, Bills by Lunch Money Lewis, and Beggin for Thread by Banks. Right off the bat, let me just say these are all amazing songs and I highly recommend you give them a listen. But I'm here to analyze these songs, and generic statements like that are going to get us nowhere. Let's start with Hold Back the River by James Bay, which is an amazing pun if it was intentional, which I hope it was. Out of the three songs we got today, this one took the longest to grow on me. I had to give it a good 3 or 4 listens before I really got into it. And that's mostly because, well, it's not really a style I'm used to. It's a very weird mix of complex and minimalist, starting off with a very shallow sound that slowly gets deeper as time goes on. It's a really slow, basically 3-minute long build-up that I'm definitely not used to given 2015's music scene. And the fact that this entire song basically consists of 2 alternating chords, despite the 4-chord pop standard, was pretty off-putting at the start. And the vocals on the hook were honestly kinda irritating to me. I'll be honest, this really didn't start out too well. But once I gave it some time, everything clicked. I started to notice some complexities in the instrumentation and how well they all meshed together to form one big picture. The way the vocals transitioned from smooth to rough matched up perfectly with the production shift in tone. The boring became the soothing, the grating became the intense. The points on the scatter plot shifted to form a perfect line. Each note layered on top of each other to form something even greater than the individual greatness of those 2 notes added up. The lyrics, while I don't necessarily know what they mean, I know they mean something, and I respect that. And whatever they're supposed to mean, goddammit, James Bay's selling it. I'm honestly considering building a dam now. I think that might be my new goal in life. Honestly though, as good as this song is, I'm not surprised that it didn't chart. The general public usually doesn't have enough patience to let songs like this grow on them, and it's way too emotionally driven to just slip through the cracks. Despite Vivo advertising the fuck out of it, it predictably never gathered a big enough audience to make a major impact on the Hot 100, or any impact at all really. Did pretty well on the rock charts though, so that's something. Up next, there's Bills by Lunch Money Lewis. Now hold on to your neck and brace for whiplash, because in every way besides quality, this is pretty much the polar opposite of Hold Back the River. The production is nearly perfect, miraculous in every sense of the word. Exactly the right elements come in at exactly the right times. The song is based around a wonderfully complex piano riff which, despite being very layered, still maintains a very clear central melody. Same with the percussion, and the synth. This song has a lot going on, but it never once feels cluttered. It even manages to pull off the Bangladesh-esque loop vocal sample without being irritating. I guess if I do have one minor complaint, it's that the individual elements don't really mesh as well as I'd like them to. Like I said, this song doesn't feel cluttered, but yeah, some elements do tend to poke out a bit too much. The elements never really join together to form one greater piece, and I always find myself focusing on 1 or 2 individual loops at a time, rather than taking them all in at once. But when every single instrumental loop is amazing, that's not really much of a complaint. The lyrics manage to juggle very heavy, relatable subject matter while still keeping its lighthearted feel, which is both rare and honorable, giving the song an almost unmatchable personality. This is mostly due to Lunch Money Lewis's incredible charisma. His delivery is nearly perfect, every line has its own burst of energy to it. Never has a song about crippling debt been so fun. It's almost like a novelty track despite itself. For pretty much the first moment I heard the song I knew it'd be a hit, which leaves one question. Why wasn't this song a hit? Come on guys, this is incredible. The whole may not be that much better than the sum of its parts, but those parts are still pretty fucking awesome. It's catchy, it's energetic, it's bouncy, it's well produced, it's well written, it's weirdly memorable. I have actually witnessed legitimate friendships formed over this song. Now obviously all 3 of these songs were basically flops, but this is the one I'm still bitter about. Like come on, this had so much potential, what happened? And finally, Beggin for Thread by Banks. Despite being a very unique track, this is pretty much the perfect middle ground between Bills and Hold Back the River. It has a soothing, emotionally driven progression of Hold Back the River, but the catchiness and immediate charm of Bills. Unlike Bills, Beggin for Thread's initial build-up is large and omnipresent, but unlike Hold Back the River, it doesn't make up the entire song. Much like Hold Back the River, I have pretty much no idea what the song is about, but unlike Hold Back the River, it's not really trying to persuade or lead the listener as it is trying to relay an experience, making the cryptic subject matter less of a flaw and more of a feature. All 3 songs handle pretty dramatic subject matters. Bills handles its subject with energy and humor, Hold Back the River deals with its subject with hope, and Beggin for Thread handles its subject pretty much the exact same way you'd expect a song to handle a dramatic subject. Dramatically. It has that slow-paced, almost relaxed feel, somewhat similar to Hold Back the River, but it hits you immediately, much like Bills. Despite the slow, lurking feeling, this was actually very quick to grow on me. Something about the style hit me pretty much instantly. It's dark, cryptic, yet oddly straightforward in a really familiar way. And while it's definitely not as strong to me as it once was, mostly because of how many times I've listened to it, it's still thoroughly enjoyable. Everything just flows so smoothly and naturally, it's beautiful, it really is. I get a bit of a Portal 2 vibe from the second verse, which is fitting. And those were today's 3 songs. As for which one's the best, yeah, it's kind of a hard call to make. These are 3 very quantifiably different songs, very difficult to compare on any objective level. Overall, I'd say Beggin' for Thread was the most enjoyable to me at its peak, but it was also the quickest to wear off on me. Hold Back the River is definitely the deepest of the 3, but easily the most polarizing. Overall, I'd say Bills has the most mainstream appeal, and it's definitely the one with the most energy, so if you're gonna check out any of these songs, check out Bills. And maybe, just maybe, we can make a chart again. I'm the Double Agent, and I'm going to sleepaway camp for 3 weeks starting tomorrow, so see you after that.